To the Helix webinar series. Today's session is on Ask the Experts. We're running quite a few of these sessions. Last week, or in fact the week before, was Track It. This week we're focusing on footprints. A little bit about the types of sessions. So we're not coming with content per se. It's an open discussion. So please ask your questions related to any of the topics around footprints, content, challenges, things you would like to discuss. So it's very much in your hands. We do have one question that's come, which is come from Trisha. We will talk that through at the start, but we want this to be interactive. So we would love to hear questions from you. So you can either put that into the Q&A section, which you'll find at the bottom of Zoom, or the option to raise your hand, and I will come to you to make sure you can unmute, and then you can ask your question to us. So without further ado, let's get started. So first of all, my name is Samantha Hudson dos Santos Figueira. I work as a program manager. It's across all of the BMC products. I'm very privileged to be doing these type of events to help others. And today we've got an excellent set of panelists or co-hosts with me that will introduce themselves shortly. If you have any content around any of our products that you would like to see more of it, whether it's documentation, videos, webinars, please do reach out to me. You've got various methods via either LinkedIn, you can reply back to the email invite that you had, or you can find me on the community. So that's a little bit about me. Let me hand over to my co-host, Mega, if you can introduce yourself, and then we'll go through the rest of the panel.
Thank you, Sam. So hello everyone, my name is Megha and I'm technical support analyst for Track It and Footprint product from last 5 years. So the last week I have delivered the one webinar which is for the footprint application. It was related to business rule and the configurations and what are the new defects we have fixed. So in the new version of the footprint we have introduced in that. And if you have any questions related to the business rule or any other issues with respect to footprint application, you please feel free to ask here. So I'm going to hand over this call to the Eric. Thank you.
Thanks, Megha. So my name is Eric List. I am the Area Vice President of R&D for Footprints, as well as a number of products. I essentially lead the R&D and the product management functions for those products. I've been with the company for a very long time, and I'm looking forward to any questions or comments we may have. So thanks so much. I'll go ahead and pass to Sridhar.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sridhar. I am the engineering manager for Footprints and a few other products. And I've been with the BMC for almost 20 years now. And looking forward to hearing questions from you and helping you get past all those issues that you have or any other interesting items that you can share for the benefit of others. I'll pass it on to Mrunal.
Hi all, so I am Mrunal. I'm working as a product developer in Footprints for past 4 years now. So we'll be more happy to help you with your queries and any ideas if you can just let us know. So maybe I can just pass it to Paul.
Hey everybody, I'm Paul Tipping. I've been Senior Technical Support Analyst for the Footprints product. Been with BMC for 16 years and working with Footprints for well over a decade, starting with the 7.5 product. So any questions you got regarding anything from Footprints 7.5 upwards, let me know.
Thank you, Paul. I think that is everyone. So I think we'll get started. If we haven't got questions automatically at the start, we probably need to do a bit of a warm up. So I know, Mega, we got a question in from the community from Trisha. Do you just want to read through that question and then we can take that into discussion?
Yeah, sure. Sam, I cannot see the question of Trisha. If you don't mind, would you please read it out or
It is in the chat. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe I know, Eric, we walked through that earlier because I'm not on my computer at the moment. I'm obviously running this. So can you see in the chat, in the Teams?
No.
I can take it.
Thank you, if you could.
Yep. Yeah, Trisha have asked the question about, does Footprint CMDB integrate with BMC client? If so, how?
So who would like to answer that question?
So the
Shredder, you're probably okay.
Sorry. Please go ahead.
I'm not going to answer the question because I'm not the best person. I'll leave it to one of you all.
Sridhar, you can take over if you'd like to answer the question.
Yeah, so I assume Trisha meant about the BMC client management. And if my assumption is right, yes, we do have integration, and there is a separate section in the Footprints administrative console where you can configure the CMDB, or sorry, the BMC client management server details. And once that is done, in our workspaces, like we do have an option to enable the client management integration. And whenever like you have the CMDB created, the workspace created from the business process templates, which is built in, there'll be a seamless integration between Footprints and the client management.
So we have more videos created on integration of Footprints and BCM client management. So if you go, if you can access BM Footprint and Track It channel, so you can see the videos available there, how you can integrate the BCM client management with a Footprint application. So it would be easy for you to understand how exactly the process run.
Thank you, Mega. And I will share that YouTube channel. So when you talk about channels, we actually have one that we've combined with Footprints and Track It. So I will share that post-event. And we've also, as Mega's mentioned, got quite a few videos created. I will also provide those links for you as well. Trisha, hopefully that answers your question. I will reply back to you in the community as well. I'm really trying hard to get you to be able to allow yourself to speak, but we don't seem to be able to take you off. So if that does answer your question, if you could put something in the Q&A, that would be great.
I also posted a link into the webinar chat regarding the section of the help files for how to do that integration with client management. Because there's two specific ways you can do the integration with client management. So you can either have it directly with your BCM client management, or you can do an import of BCM into a CMDB and Footprint. So there are those two separate specific ways that you can do the integration, and the help files there are very generous in they show you how to go through that process. And also, if Mega's got videos as well, we'll put those links up onto the screen as well.
Yeah, I will put those all into the post Q&A, which will be sent out to you after the event. So if you do have any more questions around documentation, let us know. So that was the only question we got ahead of this event. So I don't know, I'm going to open it up. I don't know, Ron, you love to ask us questions and speak. So I don't know if there's anything on the back of your mind or your colleagues, any questions before we just share some other really good content that we've got. We want it to be led by our audience today. Okay. I think to get us started, I know we were having a conversation before we joined this session. So we were talking about just in general release information. So Maranul would be a really good person to ask those questions. So if you've got any or answer them, we're more than happy to help you with those. I know, Paul, there's a lot around Tomcat and Footprints. We do suffer with customers with configuration issues. Do you want to maybe start that conversation around some prereqs or recommendations, best practice?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll just share my screen and just go through a KB article that we've got. Or hopefully explain.
Put that into full screen as well, hopefully.
Am I in full screen?
That's better. I think that's okay.
Great. One of the big questions we get asked is how to configure Tomcat for Footprints, and what type of things can go wrong if we are using the incorrect versions of Tomcat or Java with the application. And you can see we've got a knowledge base article that's been created, including a video going through this process. But the main things that I want to just point out here is that each particular version of Footprints relies on a specific version of Tomcat. So we can't use Tomcat 7 with Footprints 2018-03, for example. And just going through this particular knowledge base article to be able to understand the different versions and what you have as a prerequisite when you are upgrading the application can just save you a lot of time and potential problems after you have gone through that process. So we can see we've got different versions of OpenJDK that are reliant on each of the different versions as well. So as well as the different versions of Tomcat for the versions, we also rely on OpenJDK different versions as well. So as each iteration of Footprints goes forward, we're going to the most recent JDK version available at that time. I believe that's correct, isn't it, Sridhar?
That's right, Paul.
Yeah, so we can say this knowledge base article just goes through the information about showing you what needs to be configured in each of the options, and it would just save you a lot of trouble and heartache if you can configure the application as we have got configured in this particular KB article.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay.
Yeah, so let me just take back the share again. Okay, so I think moving on while we wait to see if there's any other questions, I'll just maybe pick on Sridhar. We were talking before we started today around releases, what's coming up. I wonder if we could maybe just talk about that to the audience as well.
Yeah, sure. So we are currently working on the next release of Footprints with the version named 2024-01. So some of the features that we have planned for the upcoming release are, there are a lot of ask about ability to preview the attachments before even having the need to download. So that's coming up. And the other feature would be the ability to assign or control the assignment ability to either to an individual user or only team or both. So that's something that we are going to introduce in the upcoming release. And the other item would be a new compact theme is getting introduced in the product, where last time when we thought about introducing or helping customers in terms of getting more screen space for the number of records that they wanted to view in their particular login. So in some places, like we had disparities being reported. So to mitigate that, like we are introducing a brand new theme, which will be named as a compact theme, where you would get to have the ability to view more records, and at the same time, like you would be happy to enjoy the brand new BMC themes that we have already introduced. So that's something that is coming up in the next release. And one other item is in Footprints 11, if people have worked with that, and if you recall, on the grid, like you will have a tiny attachment icon where you can, if you mouse over it, it displays all the list of icons, or sorry, the attachment file names that are part of that particular ticket. So that gives an ability to look at, okay, does this particular ticket has X or a file name in an attachment? So today, like you will have to open that particular ticket, go to the attachment section, and then scroll to the available attachment list and then find it out. So in the upcoming release, like we would have a similar feature of Footprints 11, where you would have an attachment icon, mouse over it, you will get the list of attachments listed as a ready reference for the end users. So these are some of the items that we can highlight now. And of course, there will be more that will be introduced or be part of when we have the final release out in your hands.
Thanks, Sridhar. Is there any pointers where customers can find this information, or does that get sent out to them when new releases are coming up?
Yeah, so this will be part of the upcoming the documentation, the release notes that we will be publishing at the time of the release.
Okay. And I'm assuming, do customers have to be subscribed to that to get those notes, or can we maybe follow up with a link? Okay. So what I'll make sure is, Sridhar, if you can point me to that link, if it's not already in the chat, I'll add that to the Q&A section that we'll put into communities.
Sure, I'll do that.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Okay. Are there any questions from our attendees? we would love to hear from you. I'm not really sure unless there's anything else that the panel want to say. We just wanted to point out some really good content and where to find that. So I'll make sure that you have all those links. But we would love to hear from you. So if anyone's got any questions. It's a very quiet audience again. Eric, it must be something special that you bring here.
You know, I have a very terrifying facade that, just causes people to clam up.
Eric, is there anything that you want to share? I know we're pretty interactive on some of these sessions. You were great at sharing some stuff with Trackit. Is there anything that hasn't been discussed yet that you would want to point to our audience, to anything useful?
No, I think Sridhar kind of covered it really well, and the team covered it really well. We continue to have a dedicated group of individuals that are working on these products. We've got a really stacked backlog and roadmap of things that we're looking to develop for it. A lot of them are, primarily focused on, usability enhancements and things like that. Just trying to make sure that the day-to-day life of the folks who are using the product gets easier over time, and that we provide them some new tools and tricks and things to make that happen. So, I think this is really just a story of consistency and execution with Footprints and with the ongoing team. We work closely with the support team to make sure that there's good communication between the support team and the engineering team, so that when we do find issues, we can resolve those as quickly as possible. Yeah, I think that's kind of where we said, if there are any questions about what's happening in the background with Footprints, the team, the strategy, I'm happy to answer any of those questions. But anything that we have to share, I think is pretty well on the table right now, unless there are questions that we're not thinking of.
Thank you. Actually, on the roadmap front, there's a couple of questions that Ron has put into the Q&A. One of them was our dashboards on the roadmap. I don't know who would like to answer that one.
Our dashboards on the roadmap. So I guess, can we let Ron open up and just provide a little bit more context on what he's looking for there?
Ron, hello.
Yeah, just a question on dashboards. With regards to like interactive charts, pie graphs or anything like that. Would that be coming in the near future?
So that's something that we have in our backlog. So backlog is kind of, when I use the term backlog, I'm referring to stuff that's the wish list of items that we're looking at and that we consider credible and that we have reasonable intention to deliver, right? And then there's roadmap. Roadmap is the stuff that's kind of locked down. We know we're delivering in a certain amount of time. So I would say it is not on the roadmap at this moment, but it's in the backlog. It's one of those things that we do want to get to. It is something that would come after we feel like we've got the level of platform concurrency we want, and that we've gotten some of these usability enhancements out the door. So, the short story is, yeah, it's out there, Ron, but it's not something that I'd expect in the next, 6 to 9 months at least. It would probably be a bit longer than that.
Okay, thanks.
Eric, you don't even recognize my voice these days. I'm shocked.
What's that? Say again?
You don't even recognize my voice anymore. That was Andy speaking.
Sorry for that.
Got it. I lost it. I'm sorry.
They're playing a game with using different profiles. I saw that in the chat actually.
So can I just interrupt there? The one thing we do have in Footprints, we do already have the ability to add charts as part of widgets to the dashboards. But I'm not quite sure what extra things you're looking at there, Andy or Ron. Are you looking for any specific type of future charts that we haven't thought of yet, or is this something that you've not really seen in Footprints 20 at the moment?
I think we'll have to unmute them again. Yeah, can we unmute Ron? Ron here.
I have myself.
Yeah,
So
there we go.
I have a question for report analytics. Now, there's been a sort of which discussion or going forward to improve or update report analytics, which in some ways it works well, but other ways it kind of gets bogged down in the number of records that could be available.
So the question is around performance.
Performance, correct. That's the main correct.
Yeah, and
Trina?
obviously the one thing that we talk about with performance with service analytics is always to make sure that people are using a safe search rather than using the full subset of tickets, so that you're limiting the amount of data that's coming into the application for the searches. So if you've got 1 million tickets in your system, you don't necessarily need to be interrogating that 1 million tickets if you're just looking for tickets from last month. It's better to use a safe search to bring that data back first of all, so you are just getting that extra performance boost by only having the data that you require in the service analytics report. Is that something that you do at the moment, or something that you know about?
Looks like Ron will need to unmute again.
Yeah, so no, I
There we go.
find it's like it's not because you're trying to pull too much data at once.
Okay.
It's the performance sometimes you get where you're trying to get a subset of data from a large set of data. So you get your 1 million rows, but only want 10,000 based on criteria. That can also sometimes be slow. Sometimes published reports, not published, sorry, scheduled reports don't have errors at times because they time out trying to get data.
Okay. Yeah, if you got any specific examples of that, just let me know offline and we can talk through them.
Fair enough. We'll talk about it. We'll get I'll get my footprints experts, Nick and Layla and Andy, to put some
And Nick and Layla are definitely footprints experts. Now,
Ron, did you want to, I don't know if it was Ron or Andy now, that asked the other question about the integrations. Did you want to cover that as well?
Yeah, I was back with the AI. So I'm looking, obviously there's always been an uptake in AI integration, quite a bit with self-service, quite a bit sometimes with knowledge. And obviously Helix does a great job of that these days. And it's wondering if that's something discussed at the level of these products or target audience they're going toward, is there discussion of adding some AI functionality feature set to the existing product?
Yeah, I can help with that one. So as you've kind of referred to, Ron, BMC is going big into AI, right? There's the Helix GPT, which is kind of an internally built program. BMC has been doing GPT before it came out the way it is now, and so we're investing in that all over the place. What I would say is Footprints is a place where that could potentially happen, but it's going to be lagging materially, right? So what I can say for sure is we wouldn't do it in the next 18 months. But what we might do at some point is leverage the work that's being done on the more enterprise scale products to bring some of that into Footprints. But it's not something that I would expect in the next 18 months.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Thanks, Ron. Okay, that's any questions that we've got. Is there anybody else on the call that would like to ask a question? Don't be shy. Okay. I don't want to force anyone with any questions, but I guess as a wrap up, because we never really know how many questions we've got, and they were really good ones. Thank you, Ron and team. Is there anything from our panel that we haven't talked about today that you wanted to maybe recommend or showcase any examples of some content that we want to provide to our customers? So I'll ask you out openly on the panel if there's anything you want to talk through.
Nothing additional from me. I'll pass to other members.
Mega, is there anything else that you want to share? I know we've got a webinar coming up in April. I don't know if you want to talk that through, or just in general, some of the past webinars that you want to point an action.
Yeah, sure, Sam. So hi team once again. So in the past week, I have shared one webinar which is regarding the configuration of business rules. So if you have any questions regarding the business rule, the issue you're ongoing facing, so please feel free to ask here. And the new upcoming my webinar is which is regarding to the Trackit application. But if you'd like to attend, please feel free to attend that webinar because you will get to know how the Trackit application does work. So, and regarding the past webinar, which is completely depend on the footprint application, so please feel free to ask the questions here. We all the panelists will try to give the answers of all your questions.
And also it's an opportunity if there is any content that you feel isn't out there. I know, Eric, we've worked on this with the Track It side. We're looking at working with IDD, so that's our documentation department. So if there are anything out there that you feel could be improved, please do reach out to us, including Eric, who's very customer facing. We are looking at doing quite a few improvements. I will also share you the webinar links, any content that's already been produced that's out on YouTube. If you don't have access to YouTube or you can't use it, do let me know. I can find a way of getting this content out. But we're always looking at improving. And something that I've discussed with Paul, who's on today, there's a lot of content that we've had that is still very applicable. We're looking at getting that out also onto YouTube over the next coming months. So I'd love to hear any feedback, any improvements, any opportunities to get more content out. Mega's been with me for a couple of months. She will be going back into support, and we do work on problem management. So if anything is also identified where we're seeing customers experiencing more than one or two customers, then knowledge articles are created and short how-to videos as well. So that's another way to get content over quickly.